That was the first thing Ethan Walsh said when he opened the door to his new apartment, box cutters still in hand, sweat from unpacking still on his forehead, and found a young girl, no older than 9 or 10, standing on his porch with a red backpack, teary eyes, and a voice too soft to match the secret she held. "You're Ethan Thomas Walsh. You were born March 14, 1989. Your mom's name was Lydia, and you used to draw rockets on your bedroom wall," she said. Then she paused and looked down at her shoes, almost ashamed. I think you might be my dad." Ethan's world slowed to a stop. The box cutter fell from his hand and clattered onto the wooden floor. He had just moved into this small town, Stark Hollow, a peaceful escape from his chaotic past in Boston, barely 3 days ago. No one here knew his name. No one should know. He had come to disappear, to start over. And yet, here stood a girl who somehow knew everything. Everything he hadn't told a soul in years. 3 hours earlier, he was dragging his final moving box into the 2-bedroom cottage he'd rented on the edge of town. It was modest, cozy even, with ivy on the brick and a porch swing that creaked with every breeze. He was 35 and tired of running, tired of regrets, tired of looking over his shoulder. After years of corporate burnout, failed relationships, and a drinking problem he had finally kicked last year, Ethan had chosen Stark Hollow as his quiet new beginning. A place with no history, no distractions, and no expectations. He didn't know anyone here. That was the point. Or so he thought. Her name was Maya. She said she lived 2 blocks away, with her aunt. Her mom had passed away the previous year. She said her mom never told her who her father was, only that he had once lived in Boston, was a brilliant artist who gave up on himself, and had a small scar under his right eye from falling off a bicycle at 12. Ethan unconsciously touched that very scar when she said it. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just stood there, like a ghost from the past that had finally caught up. "I'm not asking you to be my dad," she whispered. I needed to see you." Ethan didn't know how to respond. He hadn't spoken to Rebecca, Maya's mother, in nearly 11 years. She had been his college love, a free spirit who painted emotions like they were colors no one had ever seen before. They'd broken up after a painful argument about his drinking, his fear of commitment, and her growing sense that she was pregnant. She never confirmed it, and he never asked. He didn't want to believe it. Now, here was the truth. Flesh and blood. Standing right in front of him. He let her in. They sat at the kitchen table in silence for minutes that stretched into hours. She told him more, about how Rebecca had painted him in 1,000 canvases but never spoken his name until her last week in the hospital. About how she had written a letter, sealed it, and left it with Maya's aunt. About how Maya had waited until she turned 10 before opening it, afraid of what she might read. That letter, written in Rebecca's shaky cursive, said, "Your father's name is Ethan Walsh. He never knew about you. Don't hate him. Find him. Let him know you exist." The next few days were awkward, then warm. Ethan wasn't sure what role to play. He didn't know how to be a father. He barely knew how to be himself. But Maya didn't need much, she didn't expect miracles. She just wanted to know him. She asked questions with a curious gentleness. What music did he like? Did he still paint? Did he ever eat too much ice cream and regret it? She laughed at his dumb jokes and made him promise he'd try hot chocolate with cinnamon for the first time. But there were challenges too. Ethan's past hadn't fully let go of him. He was still attending therapy for his addiction, still waking up with guilt and dreams he couldn't explain. The idea of parenting scared him more than any failure he'd ever faced. At night, after Maya left, he'd sit on the porch and stare into the dark, wondering if Rebecca had been right to keep Maya a secret for so long. Wondering if maybe he didn't deserve this second chance. One evening, Maya caught him crying. She didn't ask why. She just sat next to him, placed her head on his shoulder, and said, "You're trying. That's more than most." That moment cracked something inside him, a wall built out of shame and silence. In the weeks that followed, Ethan began to change. He painted again, starting with small sketches, then full canvases. He made one of Rebecca, eyes closed, head tilted to the sun, her spirit in brush strokes. Maya saw it and cried for the first time in front of him. He enrolled in a local community center's mentorship program, where he started helping teens with art therapy. He even apologized, to his own mother's memory, to himself in the mirror. He wasn't just building a new life. He was building connection. By the time 2 months had passed, Maya wasn't just the girl at his door. She was the reason that door stayed open. One rainy Sunday, as they sat watching a movie, Maya turned to him and asked the question Ethan had feared and longed for all at once. "Can I start calling you Dad?" He didn't speak. He just pulled her into a hug, the kind he never gave anyone, and whispered through tears, "You already do." Epilogue. The story of Ethan and Maya didn't become famous. There were no headlines, no viral videos, no dramatic courtroom scenes. But in the quiet corners of Stark Hollow, a man rebuilt his soul, and a girl found her roots. Sometimes, the family we were meant to have arrives late, standing on the doorstep with a red backpack and a heart full of hope. And sometimes, healing begins with 4 simple words. "I think you're my dad." End message. No matter how broken your past feels, it's never too late to open the door to something beautiful.